Yes, hello everybody. We are live from St James's Park. I hope you are all keeping very well. First and foremost, I'll apology in advance if there's any noise, traffic, wind, or what have you. Kind of control that because I'm not hooked up to any mics as I'm just popping in the office today. So the big news last night was Craig Hope putting this story out that the shop is going to be closed because of the new ownership coming in. Do we believe that? Well, that's why I would like to know your thoughts on this. And of course, the Chronicle have obtained documents today about the takeover with the government and the Premier League and the dialogue between the two. And apparently, we were just hours away from a decision being made, whether that was 2 or 3 hours or the whole day, whatever. There's been a lot of dialogue. Please have a look at the Chronicle's website for that. Today, we're talking about the club shop and is this story true about Craig Hope? Now, I'm on my mobile, I'm on my own. So if I do any errors, I do apologise in advance. But what am I talking about? Well, here is a clip I done about the article.
Right, everyone. So here's the article from Craig Hope. The headline, obviously, Mike Ashley shuts down Newcastle's retail store and makes all of its staff redundant as they are told the club's proposed new owners do not want to keep them, with the shop likely to return to club control in fresh 300 million Saudi takeover twists. And he goes on to say, and I'll read this, Mike Ashley is closing the Newcastle retail store and has made all of his staff redundant, informing them that the club's proposed new owners do not wish to keep them. In a move that insiders say points towards a development in a 300 million Saudi-led takeover, the Sports Direct owned store is now likely to return to club control. Sportsmail understands the change is one of the conditions of the Saudi deal, which has been awaiting a High Court arbitration since its collapse last summer. The progress of that private hearing is not known. Staff were said to be stunned when they were told on Monday that the St James's Park shop must be cleared by next week and that all jobs would be lost. It is expected to remain closed for a period of time before being refurbished. Kit supplier Castore are set to be confirmed as the club's new official provider, and the store, when reopened, will only stock their merch. Castore, whose kit is also worn by tennis player Andy Murray, will sign a deal worth $5 million and replace Puma in the store. The British company, founded in 2015, has a similar relationship with the Scottish champions Rangers. However, it is in the mention of incoming owners in a letter sent to staff that is the talk of those close to the situation and inside Sports Direct. Ashley has instructed top sports lawyers to challenge the Premier League's owners and directors test, which could not determine a separation between the Saudi state and the country's public investment fund leading the Newcastle United buyout, causing their withdrawal last July. But sources close to the deal say that all parties, including the consortium members Amanda Staveley and the Reuben brothers, remain committed to it, pending the outcome of the private arbitration hearing against the Premier League. Were that to be successful, and Ashley is said to be hopeful of a positive outcome, then is it expected that a takeover would be finalised swiftly and the Newcastle's owners' 14-year reign would be over.
So that was the article which I've done this morning, doing the voiceover from it. However, so Ashley's going to close the store. Well, why, first and foremost? Is it losing money? Well, we know that it's a Sports Direct store. It's not. It's tainted out to be a Newcastle United official store. If you're not there, you might hemorrhage money, probably. There's a lot of big groups out there, online groups, vocal about don't go into that store. And I was a victim of that about 4.5 years ago when I got a Toon shirt. I had no idea that had been changed to a Sports Direct store, and that was just when we were in the Championship until somebody told me, and I looked at the receipt. I thought, Christ, I've got a Sports Direct receipt. Yes, I've never been in the store since, and it is probably losing money. But the staff to be made redundant, and these are Sports Direct staff, you must get that right. It's not Newcastle United staff, but still losing a job in this day and age now when, we're starting to get back to normal, fingers crossed, and lives get back to normal. Now they may be without a job. Whether that's a true story or not, I don't know. But however, hope goes to say that the new owners don't wish to keep the store on, keep the staff on, which I found really strange, I found that proper bizarre. Why would the new owners not want to keep the store on and the staff on? I'm puzzled by that, because they can easily rebrand it and keep the same staff. So for me, that doesn't add up for me. It really, really doesn't. Is it just a case of Castor or Castore? I don't know how to pronounce it. Want to have their say in the shop? Probably. They want to sell their merch inside the Newcastle United shop? Definitely. But for the takeover affecting a shop, nah, not having none of that. Not having none of that whatsoever. Don't believe that for a second. And the shop is to return back rightly to the club's hands for the time being. It says in the article that it's likely to be refurbished. And if we do have the new sponsor coming, Castor, because it isn't official yet, that they will sell their merch, that's probably right. I mean, the shop is stickered with Puma all over the place, thanks Motorbike. So it's literally dotted all over the place with Puma stuff as well. However, Pope again goes to say that later on in his article that new owners want the new shop to be redesigned and they want the staff out, which is bizarre. And also, Ashley, of course, we know is fighting the Premier League for arbitration to try and get the takeover. So there's some element of truth, but I don't believe about the whole store thing. Does the shop really depend on if the takeover's happening? Because judging by Hope's story, that he claims that Ashley's told staff at the shop that they're not having their jobs kept on because there's a takeover happening. So someone's wrong here. So whether Craig Hope has got his sources completely wrong, or Ashley's just being a dick and being what dicks do, telling them porky pies. So I thought myself, is the shop open? Now, I had a little trip down to the shop. I didn't go in, but I wanted to see if the shop was still open because that was a few questions that everybody had. And here it is. I went down to the shop a little bit earlier.
Right, here we are, everybody. You can see 9 Bar is closed now. Essential shops and bars and pubs are allowed to open if you're in the balcony, but there's clearly nobody there. The whole place is shut, which is surprising because you can legally allowed to wine and dine outside. The whole place is closed. Lovely warm day in spring, about 13 degrees, but as we walk along, the big golden question, of course, is the club shop closed or open? And as you can see, it is open today. There are staff inside. Essential shops, non-essential shops are allowed open. As you can see, the shop, official store, is clearly open for business. So whether the stories are true or not, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously there is reports, as I've mentioned, with Castor coming in, or Castore, don't know how to pronounce that, but the shop is open, everybody. It is open.
So I popped down a little bit earlier. As you can see, it's clearly open for business. So whether they get made redundant later on this week or whether the story's a load of bollocks, to be honest, I think there might be some truth in the element with the shop. I believe that. Got that Castor or Castore, who are in partnership with Rangers and Andy Murray. We're meant to get about £5 million for that. I believe they'll want something to say in their shop. But yeah, definitely the takeover. Nah, not having none of that. It's a load of bollocks that. I've got nothing to do with the takeover. And obviously Ashley's got his hands on the development around the area as well, as we all know. Obviously we can't extend the Gallagher, and I had a little walk around there as well because it's been a while since I had a proper walk around. Have a look at this.
For those who have been messaging us about the developments around St James's Park, it's all happening. There's a lorry coming out, as you can see, and this is what it looks like currently at the moment. Obviously we know this is all going to be built up because of Mike Ashley selling this land off, which is going to spoil that beautiful view when you come over the Tyne Bridge or the Redcliffe Bridge. Of course, there used to be loads of trees here. They've been chopped down, but it looks like the development just behind the Gallagher is on pause at the moment, but that's probably going to resume with restrictions now getting back to normal. And of course, if we move down to the bottom car park next to St James's Metro, yeah, the whole place has been like this for the last 15 months or so. But as we know, there's going to be student apartments, bars are going to be made here, literally in front of the Gallagher, which will never mean that we'll not be able to expand that, which, you know, it's a real crying shame.
So there you have it. Amazing typical ambulance. Every time I film at St James's Park, there's always an ambulance that goes off all the time, all the time. But it is, I just thought, you know what, let's do this at St James's Park rather than back at home. Let's get out there. I'm popping in the office, which is just behind the ground as well. But that is it. That is a wrap up. A lot of you agree as well. Doesn't actually own some of Puma. I don't think so, Geordie Jedi, not that I'm aware of. Disgraceful that all the building work is getting done outside the ground, says Ollie. But that's what happens when you've got an owner who cares more about money in the club. And the thing is, Ollie, remember that he sold it to, he's kept it in the family, didn't he? What was his son-in-law, or something like that, or brother-in-law, or something like that? He sold it to for 9 million. Which was diabolical. But obviously, we're talking about the shop today. But my verdict is it's got nothing to do with the takeover. So let's put that to bed. It probably has something to do with Castor coming in. Are the staff going to be redundant? If that is the case, that's a shitty move by Mike Ashley, without a shadow of a doubt, because these are Sports Direct people who took over from the club. I would like to see Castor come in, if they do come in, and keep the staff on, because that's bang out of order in my eyes. But that is it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We've got loads of video. We've got the preview coming up tomorrow with Johnny, Sam. We might have one more. And we've got an saint-maximin video out on Friday, and then we do it all again with West Ham coming up. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Watch what is a day. Ta-ra.